Hello everyone, welcome to this YouTube live. In this live, as I announced earlier, I will be teaching about RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Before going further, I'd like to first uh, check the audio quality. If anyone is watching this YouTube live, just let me know your feedback about audio. Okay, you can mention it through the chat. Okay, and I will be sharing the screen right now. So I'm just the screen. Okay. So I will check the audio quality. Okay, audio is okay. I'm just stopping. Okay. Okay. Let us discuss about RAG. Okay. And before going to start this, I would like to tell about myself. My name is Rajamanikam Anthony Muthu. I have more than 25 years of experience in IT. Recently, I launched AA course, okay, a few months back. So you can check that at rajamanikam.com. Okay, you can click this AA course for beginners. You can get it by using the discount code QPT. You will be getting 50% discount for that code. Okay. Okay, that's about this course. It includes RAG everything. Okay, it's a very affordable, and even if you are in India, you can get it for just 300 rupees by clicking this link. Okay. Uh, okay, now let us move to the RAG and what is the importance of RAG, why we have to implement RAG pipeline, and various use cases demo like that we can proceed. Okay. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me through the chat, and just to share this with your friends so that they can also participate and they can ask their questions. Okay. I hope I shared my screen, and I will be opening the slides. Okay. Let me open the slides. If there are any questions, you can just ask me through the chat. Okay. Initially, I thought of doing through Google Meet, but that needs OBS other things. The audio quality is a bit reduced. But here, right now, I'm using um, like uh, YouTube Studios web interface. It is okay. So RAG. I actually I'm teaching one-on-one coaching also. I can teach anything like a basic Python, LangChain agents, creating a chatbots, MCP, computer vision, anything related to AI. Okay. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, maybe you can check my blog. I will explain that later. Let us start the session now. If you are interested, suppose if I forget to mention that, maybe you can ask me by sending an email or just add a chat. Okay, through the chat, ask your questions. I'll be answering about my one-on-one coaching. Okay, so I'll open this. Okay, volume level it's okay, right? 24%. I'll be closing that and okay. So let me know if there are any questions. I'll be checking. Right now, no questions, right? Okay. If you are interested in getting one-on-one coaching, you can visit my blog. You can search my blog by typing QPT blog on Google. Okay. So I will show that. So right now it got opened. I will run it. So, what is RAG? So, first of all, to learn more about RAG, we need to understand or realize the need for RAG. That is very much important, right? So, in that perspective, let me start that session by explaining the importance of RAG first. First of all, before going that level, let us discuss about the name RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. That means augmenting the generation with retrieval. Okay. Otherwise, combining both retrieval and generation. Let us discuss about that in detail. So before that, just a standard definition like RAG is a hybrid AI system that combines retrieval-based methods, that is fetching relevant information from a knowledge source, with generative methods, that is creating new text. Okay, it enhances language models by grounding their responses in external knowledge. That is important. Grounding with external knowledge. Okay, so let me explain in a very very simple way. Okay, so that we can everyone can easily understand, right? But basically, the concept is combining the retrieval and the generation. Okay, suppose you want to create a chatbot system that can ask any question about the candidates applied for any job. Okay, so in that case, the LLMs may not be knowing the details about the candidate resumes, right? But if you have a system which can connect to the resumes of people, in that case, we can ask any questions about the candidate, right? That will be very useful for shortlisting the record candidate, right? Or think about any chart application. Okay, connecting to LLMs is easy. Through API, we can connect and we can easily create any kind of chart application. But they may not be knowing anything about our products and services or that order details, other things, right? So in that case, it should be connected to that source. So suppose if you want to provide a chatbot that can explain the company policies, the natural language part will be very good because of the LLM usage, but it may not be knowing the exact policies of the companies. In that case, we have to connect the system with the company policy knowledge source, right? That is what RAG. So otherwise, I will be explaining in a different way. Let me explain it step by step. Before proceeding further, I would like to get the check the questions, whether any questions are there. So as of now, no questions. I will be continuing the thing. Okay. Okay. So importance of RAG. So as I specified earlier, it is very very important to understand the importance of RAG. Then only we can understand the overall picture easily. Okay. So to understand the importance of RAG, first of all, we have to understand the existing models problems, right? LLMs problems. Right now, everyone is using LLM, right? So we can talk about LLMs here. So the LLMs are having limited knowledge cutoff date. Okay, that I will explain, and then they are subject to hallucinations. Okay, and one thing I missed in the slide, they lack private information. Okay, so there are three major problems with the current traditional models like LLMs, right? So suppose if you have any questions, you can always ask me through the chat and just to share this session with others so that they can also participate and they can get clarification. Right now, I don't have any plans for the duration. Suppose if any many questions are there, I can keep on continue more than 1 hour also. Okay. So the slides will be taking around 40 minutes or 30 minutes. And the demo, I will be showing demo and I'll be discussing through by going through my blog post. That everything will be taking around 1 hour. But if someone is interested in asking many questions, I'm happy to answer that questions if I know the answers. Even if I don't know the answers, I'll be working on to get the answers and then I'll be publishing as a post and you can check it on my blog. You can check my blog by searching QPT blog. My like you can go to Google or any search engine and search for QPT blog. QPT stands for Quality Point Technologies. You will be shown this link blog.qualitypointtech.com. You can click this, and here you can find a lot of blog posts related to AI, especially if you want to know about RAG related blog posts. Click check for RAG. So hundreds of blog posts are there related to AI. RAG also a lot of posts are there, but because of some issues, the blogger, it may not show all the things in the first page. You have to click next posts. Okay, so you can find a lot of posts. Next post, click on, keep on. So a lot of RAG related posts are there. I keep on working, and I am planning to add more posts also. I already published a book about RAG. Yeah, actually, in fact, two books. One is exclusive to Amazon. One is I'm selling from rajamanikam.com, and I will be including that in the AI course also. Okay, so I already released books, and other than that, I am doing these kinds of blog posting also. So if there are any questions, you can ask me. I'll be doing more analysis, and then I'll be adding answers, and then putting as blog post here. I keep on working, and I am exploring various rack techniques, and I'm just going through various discussions about RAG, and I right now I'm coaching AI to the people, right? So most people are interested in learning RAG. So based on their experience also, I am just improving my exposure to RAG. So based on that experience, I keep on adding a lot of blog posts. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. I can find answers and then put it there. Okay, and you can go through all my previous blog posts. Okay, so maybe we can discuss more about that at the later stage. Right now, we can focus more on explaining the RAG, right? So the importance of RAG. Okay. So there are three problems with major problems with the traditional models. One is limited knowledge cutoff. That means lack of latest information. Okay. I will be, as I said, I will be explaining it now. And second one is hallucination. Another one is lack of private information. Let us go through one by one. First is limited knowledge cutoff. So it's a very important thing. Most of the people who are learning AI from me, they have some kind of misinformation. Okay, they are provided with misinformation. They are having misunderstanding about the functionality of AI tools, LLM based AI tools like ChatGPT. Okay, so what they're thinking is if they come to chatgpt.com or ChatGPT application, they can ask anything about latest things also, right? So what they are thinking that models are provided with latest things, but the fact is completely different. Let me tell you the key difference between what is this LLM based application chatgpt.com. It is LLM based AI application. It is AI application, okay, but internally it is using the LLM model like GPT 5.2. Right now it is using GPT 5.2. We can ask it what is your model name. So similarly, any kind of AI application like Gemini, Google Gemini, or DeepSeek, Q1, or like Claude. If you take any kind of chatbot application, internally it will be using respective models. Okay, so here in case of ChatGPT, it is using GPT 5.2. That is the LLM model. Basically, that LLM model has knowledge cutoff date, certain knowledge cutoff date. Maybe you can ask what is your knowledge cutoff date. Understanding this fact is very, very important. So most of the people are not knowing this fact. Okay. So the knowledge cutoff date is October 2025. That means around for 4 or 5 months back itself, that cutoff date happened, right? So that means the events happened after the October 2025. That kind of information related to that latest events will not be available with this model. But ChatGPT, even if the ChatGPT is using this particular model, it can deal with the latest information. That is because of various reasons, like various features, basically function calling, tool calling. Because of that, it will be able to call the search apps, and then it's able to answer. Okay, it's like kind of additional thing. Okay, it's not the core thing. Okay, but as a AI developer, we have to deal with AI models, right? LLM models, basically. So in that case, we have to understand the basic things. LLM models are basically stateless, and they have certain knowledge cutoff date. Okay, that is the main thing. So here, this GPT 5.2's knowledge cut update is October 2025. Okay, so it cannot deal with the latest information, whether it is news events or any weather information. It cannot handle those things. Okay, even if it is having website details, it may be outdated. It may not be having the latest information. Okay, that is the fundamental understanding we need to have before going further learning about RAG. Okay, so the LLM models are really powerful. There is no question. They can handle natural language very effectively. We can ask the question in any format. It can understand our question, and it will be able to get the details from its trained data, right? So, but if the trained data is not having that information, it cannot do anything. So that is the shortcoming here. That is the training is completed before October 2025. So after that date, whatever event happened, it may not be visible to the model. Okay, so that is the basic understanding about knowledge cutoff date. So we need to be very clear about that. If there are any questions, anyone can ask. Let me check any question is there. So no questions, right? So I'll be improving. I mean, I will be continuing that. Okay. So first we need to understand the knowledge cutoff date. So because of the knowledge cutoff date, LLMs cannot handle the latest information. So that is the current problem with traditional models, current LLMs. So we need a RAG to rectify that. That I will explain how RAG will explain. Okay, RAG will deal that. How RAG will help to deal that. Okay. So the first problem with traditional models is limited knowledge cutoff. Okay, I mean knowledge cutoff basically, limited knowledge. And second one is hallucinations. Okay, this one also is a very important concept. We have to understand that whenever we talk about AI is completely based on the probability. Okay, though we are calling it as artificial intelligence, it doesn't involve any intelligence. Okay, it's not cognitive. Okay, so basically currently, so we have narrow AI, AGI, ASI, like that, right? So right now the existing thing is narrow AI only. Okay, AGI is in development, ASI is fully fictional. Okay, there is no cognitive thing as of now. Okay, so almost the highest thing in the AI right now is not cognitive. So all of them are working based on the probability kind of thing only. So for example, if you're asking question like what is the capital of India, it will be going through all the words in the question, and basically tokens they are called, they will be calling it the tokens. So it will be splitting the sentence, and it will be treating each word as a token, but not exactly. So that is completely different topic, but assume that as of now each word is a token, and it will be trying to predict the next token. Okay, so what is the capital of India, then it will be trying to predict the next token. Okay, it will be coming up with a probable list of next word, next token. It can be Chennai, it can be Calcutta, it can be Mumbai, it can be New Delhi, like. So it will be assigning the probability score based on its trained data. It will be assigning probability score, Delhi for 98%, Chennai for 1%, Calcutta for 1%, like that. Okay, so it will be taking the highest. I'm just very simplifying it. Internally, it may be a bit different. Okay, but the basic concept is it is like picking up the highest probable item from the list of probable items. That is the fundamental concept. So otherwise we can simply say that the concept is predicting next token. So that's how it is working. Okay, that's how the LLMs are working. That's how the GPT architecture based LLMs are working. Okay, that, but fundamentally AI itself based on probability, right? So in that case we cannot expect any cognitive working. Okay, so if the trained data is there, it will be there in the probable list, right? So then it will be taking that item, because it will be having more probability score, right? So in that case it's okay. But if the trained data is not there, then that is a huge problem. If the training data is not having the proper reply for our question, instead of saying that I don't know the answer, it never said that like that. Okay, the model maybe that applications are now improved bit. They are now trying to tell the, if they are not knowing the answer, that is additional layer. Okay, but fundamentally the models are not aware of that things. They are designed to give answer. That is what generative AI, they are created to generate the content for creating stories, for creating articles, for creating blog posts or images or whatever, right? So basically the fundamental is generative. Okay, so the LLMs are generative in nature. So they will be trying to tending to generate something. Even if you ask capital of non-existing country, it will be trying to tell some answer. Okay. uh, but it is long back I noticed in the chat gpt itself, but now they added some additional layers to handle that kind of stuff. But the inherent nature of llm is predicting next token, so it will be always predicting something, irrespective of the fact that whether the data is there or not. Okay. So it will be working fine if the train data has answer. If it is not there, then it will be generating answers. That may be obviously a wrong answer, right? So that is what a hallucinations. So if that train data is not having any relevant information, instead of telling that I don't know the answer, it will be generating the answer, incorrect answer, and that is what hallucination is. Suppose if you are heavily using AI tools, you will be noticing these things. Sometimes it will be start giving irrelevant things if you keep on asking questions about the things that it is not aware. Okay. Even sometimes hallucinations can happen even if the train data has some information. That is completely different topics. That is why I'm telling that we cannot completely solve hallucinations with the rag, but we can reduce it. Okay, that we will discuss. But right now what we are seeing is current llm's limitations. One is limited knowledge, another is hallucinations. Okay. And then the third one is lack of private information. Okay. Similar to latest information, this one llms are not trained with private information, right? So we cannot ask any private information related questions. If you are asking about any company through the LLM, it can tell answers based on publicly available data, not all the data, that data that were used for training that model, right? So mostly, like almost all the LLMs are trained with most of the publicly available information. So you can expect answers based on public information. It may not having the private information, but in real applications we need to deal with that, right? uh, almost any applications, for any applications that reliability is important, and it has to deal with private information. A simple chatbot itself, we need to deal with private information, right? And uh, it has to work with the latest information, right? It is giving outputs based on the responses based on outdated information means no one is going to use it further, right? So in that perspective, obviously all these three things are major things: knowledge cut of date, hallucinations, lack of private information. All these three things are major problems. But we know that llms are really powerful. They are very very effective in dealing lot of things. But because of these things, especially because of hallucinations, they are completely useless in commercial setup, especially in medical field and uh, financial field, right? But almost any field, any businesses, if you take any business, they will be willing to provide a tool which is reliable to their customers, right? So no one is interested in building a system around this hallucinating LLMs, right? So in that case, all these three problems are major things. So RAG is helping to solve that. Almost a RAG can solve all these three problems. Okay, it can give access to the up-to-date information, and it will be more accurate and the context-aware responses. Okay, so let me explain how it's working. Other things. In the meantime, I will be checking whether any questions are there. Let me check any questions. Okay, so someone has asked, no, I have, sir, can you explain what is RAG again in simple terms? Sure, I will be explaining that. Okay, so RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. That is augmenting the generation with the retrieval thing. I will be explaining that in detail in the next slide with diagrams. Okay, but before going that level, we need to understand the shortcomings or current problems with LLMs. Then only we can easily understand RAG. Okay, I'll be explaining that. I know that because most of the people are getting confused with a lot of like information available in internet, right? RAG. But basically, the very simple, basic RAG pipeline is very, very simple. Understanding RAG is just if you just want the very simple answer means it is combining the power of both generation and retrieval. Generation is LLM, right? Retrieval is any kind of data search like that you can assume. So there are some limitations in both approaches. We are combining power of both. That is the thing. Retrieval augmented generation. So we are augmenting the generation with retrieval. That's it. That I will explain with the diagram. Then it will be very simple to understand. Okay. So how does RAG work? Okay. So basically, user will be giving query. So just take any simple chatbot, right? User will ask a question, and the retrieval portion will retrieve the relevant documents from the knowledge source based on the user query. Okay, so we are getting user query, and we are sending that query to the retrieval system retriever, and the retriever will be getting the relevant documents from the knowledge source. Okay, so now we are having relevant documents. So that relevant documents will be sent to the generation along. Generation means here LLM, right? So that will be sent to the LLM along with the user query. Okay, so that response will be based on the retrieved information. So here is the key thing. We are providing relevant information. So initially I explained that the hallucination occurs because of lack of trained data, right? So the training data may not be having the information record for giving the answer for the question. So in that case, we cannot retrain the LLM, right? Though we don't have much control. Okay. So what we can do is, along with the question, we can send the answer itself. This is kind of open book test, right? So we are conducting test, but we will be providing the books to the students so that they can refer the book and they can find the answer. Similarly, similar to open book test, along with the query, we will be sending the answers also to the LLM. LLM will be and content which is having answer. Okay, so LLM will be able to retrieve that answer from that specified content based on the question. So we are sending the question as well as the content containing answer for that question to the LLM. LLM is picking that answer portion from the content, provided content, and it's able to give the response. Okay, that is what a RAG. Okay, it's kind of open book test. But we need not confuse a lot of things. Okay, so like yeah, we are getting normally in LLM, we'll be sending the user query directly to the LLM. Okay, as I explained, because of lack of private information, lack of latest information, and because of hallucination. Hallucination is again kind of lack of information, lack of relevant information. Okay, so basically, if the LLM so trained data is not containing the information record for giving the answer will be obviously a low quality answer or completely wrong. That is a fundamental idea, right? So in that case, if the data is missing in the trained LLM's trained data, we have to provide it along with the question. So we know the question, we know the answer part, and we are sending both things to the LLM so that LLM can give the response. So basically, we know the answer also from the retrieval part. We will be knowing the answer, not the exact answers, the content that is having the answer. So some part of the content will be including the answer. That so similarly, similar to book open book test, the book will be having answer, but we don't know what which page it's having, right? So that part LLM will be taking handling that part. Okay, so this is the workflow of RAG. I will explain with the diagram. In this case, it will be very useful to understand. Let me check any question is there. Okay, no other questions. I'll be continuing that, right? Okay, this is a very, very basic, simple RAG pipeline, but in fact, in real uses, it may be including a lot of other things, re-ranking, query pre-processing. So there are like fully extendable. Okay, so based on our use cases, we can come up with a lot of components, and we can arrange the pipeline in different ways. That is the real strength of RAG is there. Okay, otherwise learning RAG is very simple. Understanding the concept is very very simple. So just you need to think about the open book test. That is what RAG. Okay, so it is like we have to give the answer also, content containing answer also to the LLM, so that LLM can prepare the response without hallucination. That is what it's called as grounding. We are grounding the LLM's operation by providing the external knowledge. Okay, so that is where these things are coming. So here it is user query. Okay, and these are all the external source, knowledge source documents. The knowledge source can be anything. It need not be the documents. It can be like a connection to API, or it can be like a database or anything. Okay, so knowledge source, any kind of knowledge source, and we are going to search that. I will explain. Okay, so just to think about the components, the upper top part is, it is ingestion process. It is one time process, and this part is like a regular thing, online thing. Okay, that else I will explain. First, don't get confused with vector search other things. First, we can just see the very basic. Vector search is not mandatory, but whenever you hear about RAG, you will be hearing about vector search also, vector database also. That is because of the need for doing the processes very quickly. Otherwise, the fundamental concept of RAG is it is like augmenting the generation with retrieval. So we need one retriever. It can be simple search also, but that will be taking more time, right? Normally, whenever we are talking about RAG systems, the external knowledge source will be having lot of information. In some cases, it can be millions of documents. Okay, so in that case, we cannot use the traditional search, but still, in case of RAG, it can be used. That I will explain in detail. But generally, whenever we are talking about RAG, that vector database is also coming into the picture because of the need for doing that things very fast. Okay, the retrieval should be done very fast. In that case, literal search will be taking more time, so the embedding search will be better. So that is where the vector search is coming. So I will be explaining about it. Suppose if you are not familiar with vector search, other things, I will be giving more details about that also. But I don't want to mix everything. So first, I would like to give the very fundamental idea. Like user query, we are getting user is asking one question, and we are going to send that question to the LLM. Okay, but before sending to the LLM, we are sending that question to the knowledge source, and we are getting the relevant information, and we are augmenting it by query plus chunks, right? So that is what prompt after the augmentation. So we are sending that prompt, that is query plus chunks, we are sending to the LLM to get the response. That is a fundamental thing. And to improve the speed of the retriever, we are using embeddings. Okay, let me explain that one by one. And before that, I will just check any question is there. Okay, no questions. Okay, I will be just continuing this. Okay, then if there are any questions, you can ask me. Okay, are any problems in audio or any things? If you want me to zoom this or something, any information also you can indirectly discuss through the chat. Okay, okay. So here, as I said, the fundamental thing is we have to find the relevant information from the document source, knowledge source, and send that part along with the user query to the LLM. Okay, and then I said to increase that process, speed up the process, we are going to use the vector search. Okay, so in that case, what we are doing is, let me explain the processes step by step. Then we can discuss the overall way. Okay, so now we have the documents. Okay, so we have the set of documents, knowledge source. Okay, so we are going to simple example. You are planning to set a chatbot, customer support chatbot. Okay, so the you are running a business like e-commerce. Okay, um, and you will be having your company written policy, everything, right? So there are company policy documents, and you may be having shipping details and tax calculation, everything, right? So that will be your documents. Assume that they are that the details are in the documents. So someone is asking any question about the things, you have to provide the answer. If you straight away send the user query to the LLM cannot give answer properly, because that is not exposed with that information, right? So it will be, obviously it will be telling some general information, or even sometimes it can give some wrong information. Okay, to avoid that we have to do the grounding properly. So grounding in the sense, we have to provide the relevant information along with the user query while sending the information to the LLM, right? So in that case, like we have to um, keep the documents. So like in our case, yeah, your company return policy or any kind of e-commerce related policy documents, and shipping details, shipping information, or FAQ. So all the questions and answers, like anything related to your operation, you can put in this document. Okay, and here you are seeing the documents, here it's kind of uh, splitting the documents also should happen, that I will explain. Okay, so normally we are saying that suppose if you deeply think about drag, you should be knowing that we need to ground the LLM's response by providing external information. So we got the information. So obviously we will be thinking that okay, we can send all the documents along with the user query to the LLM so that LLM can take it, right? So here the problem is like we cannot send all the information. The reason is each and every LLM has their own context window limit. Okay, they cannot process all the information, huge information they cannot process. They have some limitation. So that is where the RAG plays important role. Okay, otherwise we can just we are saying that LLMs lack some information, so they are hallucinating. In that case, we can send the information along with, that is RAG I am saying. But in that case, why we need this vector database and the documents, everything, right? So the problem is we cannot send all the documents because of the knowledge cutoff date. Sorry, context window limit. Okay, I will explain that. So we can ask, what is your context window limit? Okay, it's not giving. Okay, give the number in token numbers. So around 200K tokens. Okay. So that means around 400 pages of text. So if you are having 500, 600 pages of text, then we cannot send that all together. Okay. So that is where these all these other steps are coming into the picture. We have to split the documents, and we need to send the relevant portion of the split. Okay, this is one reason. Other than that, sending all that content is not advisable because of the charges involved with the, right. Normally the LLMs will be charging based on the number of tokens. If we are sending more tokens unnecessarily, then the charges will be high, billing that cost will be high, right. That is one reason. One another reason. One reason is technical reason, as I said, it cannot send data beyond process certain amount of data. And another is, even if it is able to process, still sending more data is not advisable because of the token usage. Okay, from cost perspective. Okay, and one more reason is from again technical perspective. Though it can technically get a certain amount of data, that doesn't mean that it will be doing the processing effectively. Okay, only when you provide relevant information, uh, I mean only the relevant information, then only it will be able to process the information properly to give the response correctly. Okay. If you provide information that are not relevant along with the relevant information, if the irrelevant informations are very high, picking the relevant information from that pile, maybe taking some technical issues. Okay, there is no solid thing, but it's not the performance may not be as good as providing only relevant information. Okay, that also one reason. So basically three things: one is technical thing, one other is technical limitation, context window limit, another is usage cost, and the performance difference between providing only relevant information and providing relevant information along with irrelevant information. Okay, so because of that reason, we have to split the documents. That is what chunking. This one itself is a huge topic. Okay, so I will be showing various chunking strategies, other things in my blog post. We cannot explain everything in this session. I don't know about how much time it will take. Okay, and that is one important thing. Okay, but we have to do the chunking. Okay, so that I hope I explained the reasons, right? So we need to split the documents, knowledge source documents, into multiple part, and we need to do the embedding of each part, and we have to store it in the vector database. We have to store the chunk and the text, right? The text of the chunk and the equivalent embedding, and then if there are any metadata, we can store metadata. Okay. um, and the search will be happening based on the embeddings. So before going in further, we need to know about the embeddings, right? What is embedding? Okay, I will explain that. And before that, let me check any question is there. Okay, no other questions. So I'll be continuing this. Okay. So here we need to know the embedding. Okay. Initially I told vector search will be useful for increasing the speed of the response search, right? That will be done because of the embedding, right? So the embedding is converting the text into equivalent numbers. It doesn't mean that it is like ASCII, not like that. Okay, it is somewhat complex process. There is no solid this word means not this number, not like that. Okay, it involves lot of factors. Okay, and it includes semantic meaning also. So in that case, it's somewhat different processes. So embedding process. So embedding, a lot of embedding algorithms, other things are there, but normally it will be very effective when it is done from the LLM based. It needs to include the data also. So it's not like converting the words with some specific algorithm. Because of the semantic that I will be explaining. Suppose if anyone is having any questions, in that case I will be explaining. Otherwise, it's just intuitive only. Say for example, you should be knowing about semantic meaning, right? So a word it's kind of not only synonyms but other things. Maybe it can include various other things, right? Um so maybe we can discuss later. Just let me complete the overall workflow without any other disturbances, right? So just that case, it is easy to understand the workflow. Okay, but I will be talking about the embeddings. Okay, if there are any questions, right? So the embeddings that involves right now we can just assume that that will convert the text into equivalent number, multidimensional number. That is important. The vector search vector database is for holding that multidimensional data, because vector databases are very effective in that way. That is the purpose of vector database, and so we are storing the document after converting them into embeddings. Okay, and we are storing in the doc vector DB. Lot of vector databases are there. Pinecone, ChromaDB, Fires, a lot of things. I already posted one blog post about that. Maybe you can search that. As is it, search for QPT blog and then click this blog and search for vector databases. put top 10 vector databases for ag applications. Okay. So Pinecone, VWeight, Millis, Quadrant, ChromaDB, Fires, okay, PostgreSQL plus bgvector. So PostgreSQL standard database, and by installing the bgvector instruction, we can make it as a vector database. Okay, Elasticsearch, Redis. Okay. So here I explain about in what situation or for what use cases we have to use which one, like that. Okay, we can go through that. But basically, what I'm trying to say is there are various vector databases, and the purpose of vector databases is to hold the multi-dimensional embedding data. Okay, so the embedding is, as I said, just as of now, just assume that it will be useful for doing the search very quickly because of converting that letters into numbers. That is one thing, and another thing is it will include the semantic search also. Okay, so it will be helpful for achieving the semantic search. Okay, say for example, very simple example. It may not be exactly right, but simple example. If the document is having the information about New York City, if you search New NYC, a normal kind of search may not match, right? But in case of semantic search, it will match. If the document is talking about happiness, other things, and if you are searching joy through the traditional way, it may not match, right? But if you do this semantic search, joy will be retrieving the information related to happiness also, right? So these are all like simple examples, abbreviation, the meaning. Not only that, even suppose if you are searching Chennai, it will be retrieving the information related to Madras also. These kinds of alternate names or various things. Okay, I'm just telling simple examples, but it has a lot of other dimensions. Okay, and normally people will be explaining that kind of semantic with the help of scenario like palace and mattress company, right? In the palace related documents in the setup, the queens and uh, king or even ministers are related, right? But in case of mattress, king, queen, they are now more related to size of mattress than the minister, right? So in that case, the embedding that closeness will vary based on the semantic meaning of. So based on the context also, like that you can assume. Okay, so it has a whole lot of meaning here, but we need not go deeper here. But as of now, we can just think that it will be like converting the numbers, letters, words, sentences into just numbers, multi-dimensional numbers, matrix kind of number, like that you can assume. And vector databases are for holding that data. They can hold the data in a format like chunk, equivalent embedding, and if a record, metadata. Okay, metadata is data about if you are chunking the book, you can like in the metadata you can add the author name or book name, like that. So if it is record, you can add that. Okay, so that will be like a pre-filtering. So that vector search is itself sometimes may not be that much reliable, but in case of metadata, that is a traditional search, right? So using metadata, you can do the search, traditional search to filter the details. In that performance will be better. Okay, so there are a lot of things. Okay, so as I said, it will be varying based on the use cases. We have to set up the RAG pipeline based on different use cases. Okay, so according to our use cases, but whatever I am trying to here explain is very simple thing. But if you need to develop some kind of RAG thing, as a RAG system for your businesses, you can contact me to do the development. I can do very affordable charges. Okay, um, or I can guide you. Suppose if you have your own team, if you need just consultancy, I can do that also. I can guide your team to do it in a proper way. Okay, so okay, we can discuss that details later. Someone is interested, just ping me. We can have a quick Google Meet discussion to do that. Okay. Um, so what I'm trying to say here is we need to understand the need or importance of RAG, right? So that we already discussed, because of the lack of private data, lack of latest information, and the hallucinations, we have to look for these kinds of RAG. RAG is just grounding the LLM's response by providing the relevant information. For providing the relevant information, we need to get that relevant information. So for that, we have to do the search among the knowledge source. That search is that operation is expedited or increased the speed by using vector database. So to store the information in the vector database, we have to do the embedding of the data. So for doing that embedding, we need to use some embedding service. Embedding models are there. OpenAI is providing certain embedding models. So, but their OpenAI will be charging for that also, but the price will be low compared to the LLM usage. But standard transformer Hugging Face is providing standard transformer based embedding services. You can use that also freely. Okay. Um, so that is all about the embedding. So this process, the upper part of the process, doing the embeddings of the documents and storing that vector search is one-time process, not exactly one time. Whenever there is an update in the document, then again we have to update this index. But otherwise, if the information is static, the knowledge source is not changing much, then it's a one-time process only. We have to do it one time and store it in the vector search. Then the regular process. If it is chatbot, you will be getting user query, right? Every user query, it should be converted into the embedding. Okay. Here the key thing or important thing is we have to use the same embedding model here. So whatever embedding model we used for the document embedding, we have to use the same embedding for the user query embedding also. So they have to do the embedding, and then it is nature, right? It is natural understanding, very intuitive, right? For searching something, for searching the text, the search keyword should be text. For searching the numbers or embeddings, the search word also should be embedding, right? So in that case, we have to convert the user query into equivalent embedding, that is query vector. So now we have the doc embeddings and the query vector. So the query vector will be searched against the doc embeddings to get the relevant information. Here there are a lot of things are there. The search will be returning top K results. Okay, top three or top five based on our settings. Just I'm telling you an example. If it is top three, here we will be getting three things, and that will be called as context chunks, right? Relevant chunks or context chunks. We have to include there. The augmentation process involves combining the query and the chunks with the system prompt. Okay, so that I will be explaining with the sample code. Okay, so maybe it is very difficult to explain all these things in the diagram itself. This diagram is to give the overall understanding. Okay, so let me check whether any question is there. So as of now, no question. I'll be continuing this. Okay. So this is the overall process. We have to do the embedding of the documents and store it in the vector database. And then each of the user queries should be converted into a equivalent embedding. And the embedding should be searched against the doc embeddings stored in the vector database. And that search will be returning top K retrieved relevant chunks. And that chunks should be combined with the user query uh, before sending to the LLM to get the response. Okay, this is the overall process. Though the overall process is looking very simple, actual making it work in for our actual use case is very difficult. That is the reason why many companies are looking for RAG talents, right? So it is not about just understanding RAG. We got to know about how to use the RAG pipeline properly. What are the components here? I'm telling that that a vector search should be done right, but in actual use cases, if you have millions of documents, these kinds of vector search may not be effective. Okay, that response may not be good, but cross encoder based things will be ranking will be better. um, but they will be costly in the sense from usage perspective, like speed and usage, right? So in that case, we cannot use millions of documents. We can use it for millions of documents. In that case, Here we can roughly use this, and then say for example, instead of taking top 3 results, we can take top 20 results, and then we can send the top 20 results to the cross encoder as a re-ranking process. Then it will be ranking the results, and then we can take the top 3 from that 20 things. Okay. uh, 20 things after doing the sorting. Okay. So in that case, it will be very effective from usage, performance of like effectiveness as well as the speed. Okay. So it's a combination. So in that case, we have to include the re-ranking component. And similarly, you have to understand that the same query should be sent to the document search as well as to the LLM. You got the thing right. These things only when you experiment it, you will be facing the difficulties. Some queries will be working properly for retrieval process. The retrieval will be working fine. But that query may not be effective when getting response from the LLM. So because here, if you see the diagram, the user query is same query is sent to the vector search as well as the same query is sent to the LLM also, right? But if we this kind of things, but based on the use cases, how people are asking questions, right? So in that case, if it requires query pre-processing, sometimes we have to use that component. So like that, lot of components are there. Even I used to see a list of various RAG techniques. So you can search RAG technique. Actually, I included everything in my course. So this person has listed a lot of RAG techniques, but it's not limited to this thing. So based on your use cases, you can develop your own RAG pipeline by inventing your own technique. So just you can get some inspiration from here. Agentic RAG, lot of things are there. Okay, so just self RAG, graph RAG. But self-rag, graph rag, that and all standard concept that maybe we can discuss in another session. Um, or if someone is asking any questions, we can check. But other than that, a lot of things can be purely based on our use cases. Okay. So based on our document structure, our recommends, our priority, whether we need speed or whether we expect low token usage, or based on all our recommends. Okay. So let me check any other question is there. So no questions. Okay. So the next question is why documents and the LLM are in different blocks. LLMs are structured data. Why documents? LLM? So if you are referring to this diagram, then they are entirely different thing. It's not about the LLMs are large language models, right? So they are like a GPT 5.2 model, like that, or Gemini model. So this is AI model. These documents are just knowledge source documents. Okay. So it is knowledge source. Completely different things here in this diagram. If you are referring some other things, just refer that so that we can discuss. Okay. So here, and one more question, normally people, whenever I teach about that, they will be thinking that how to connect the document. Maybe you are also coming in that perspective. I understand that in that perspective because many people ask that question to me. But their understanding is, their question is how to connect this LLM to the retrieval, right? So that basically vector database, how to connect that vector database and the LLM. So we are not going to connect them. Okay. So as I explained earlier, our part is we are not going to do anything. So we have LLM, we have user query. Okay, that is the fundamental thing. User is asking question to the LLM, and I am saying that LLMs are lacking those three things: private information, latest information, and hallucination. Right. So because of that, I am saying that we need to get provide relevant information. Right. That is the fundamental. So that otherwise, simply you can say that you are sending the question to the LLM, but LLM trained data is not having answer for that question. So we got to provide that information also. That is a very very fundamental thing. So for getting that information in the sense that relevant information that is required for answering the question, we are doing these all things. That is what retrieval augmented generation. So we are augmenting the generation with retrieval. So the retrieval is like here in this basic thing, it is like a vector search. Okay, so vector search is retrieving that relevant information and sending that. So we are going to send that only that context chunks or retrieved text. We are not going to dealing with any embedding something. That is just to speed up the retrieval process. Okay, so from LLM perspective, we have to just only thing LLM will expect is prompt, right? We are just enhancing the prompt. We are enhancing the prompt by including the chunks, relevant chunks or relevant information along with the user query. That is what we are doing here. So there is no, from technically there is no connection or nothing. So it is very simple process. So that is the reason why many people are getting confused, like how to connect with the LLM vector database. No, nothing. So we have to think in that way. We have LLM, and the fundamental operation is sending the user query. So in that case, we fear that the LLM is not having answer for that query, so it will be probably hallucinate or give wrong information. So we are sending that relevant information also. So to get that relevant information, we do all these other things. We are having arranging the documents as a knowledge source, and doing the chunking and doing the embedding of each chunk and store it in the vector database, and convert the user query into embedding, and convert that do that search against that vector database, and getting that retrieved chunks, and doing the augmentation. Okay, augmentation is simple, just combining the query and the chunks with the system prompt. The system prompt may be simple, I will show that. Any other questions? Okay, if there are any questions, you can ask me. Okay. So components of RAG, retriever, generator, knowledge source. Okay, we already discussed those things. Again, just a retriever is for searching knowledge source for getting the relevant information. Okay, generator is that LLMs, GPT, that generate responses. Okay, knowledge source is like external database or corpus. Okay, so applications of RAG, lot of applications, mostly related to chatbots, like that. I think question answering, chatbots, content creation, customer support, chatbots. Again, all most of the things chatbots. Okay. So advantages are very obvious, right? So we explained that LLMs are lacking latest information, private information, subject to hallucination. So the advantages of RAG are just those things, like it can provide or handle latest information, it can handle private information, it can reduce the hallucination. Okay, so basically combining the best of retrieval and generation. So a lot of things are while combining. The in case of retrieval, we are talking about vector search, but sometimes BM25, that kind of traditional search also sometimes in the record. Like recently, many vector searches are coming with hybrid search. So a lot of things are there. They are completely different thing. As I said, the fundamental concept is very simple, as I explained now. But for making the rack system work for our use cases, we have to explore various things. That is where the real challenge is there. So if you face any difficulties in that things, if you need some guidance, you can contact me for one-on-one AA coaching, so that you can save a lot of time. Okay, or if you want to implement RAG, because RAG implementation is very important for any kind of business. Okay, that I already explained about importance of RAG, right? Suppose if you plan to do some chart spot or something, just to use connecting to the LLM is not enough. We have to provide our own knowledge source also to make it more effective. Okay, so in that case, if you need, like a very simple example is, if you want to know about RAG, suppose someone is not understanding what is RAG, if you need some overview, I would suggest going to Notebook LM. Okay, Notebook LM is RAG-based application provided by Google. It's a really very useful one. If you are not using it, not only for understanding RAG, for your notes taking, for your study, everything it is useful. Even if you are a YouTuber, you can automatically create podcast for your channel. I already create a lot of podcasts. You can check my playlist. Okay, so this is a very very simple idea of RAG. Okay, so you can get some idea about RAG. So here you can add sources, you can add website links, YouTube link, Google Drive, or you can upload the video or paste the text. So in various ways you can add the knowledge source, and from any source it will be getting that knowledge, and you can just use it. I already added many things. We can check any one of that. Okay. So even we can talk about RAG. So if you want to, so assume that you are going to learn RAG, so you can add all the RAG related information. Suppose if your company or college is providing some information, you can add that also. Or if you find some information useful, if you find my ebook useful, you can add your ebook here. So you can add any number of sources here, and then you can learn from there. You can understand the difference here. Now the hallucinations will be avoided, and if you add lot of latest documents, and even if you have your own private notes, you can include that also. So based on all that information, it can give the answer. And apart from that charting, it has a lot of other options: mind map, flashcards, infographics, slide deck, quiz, reports, video overview, audio overview. That kind of the audio overview and all very useful. Like it will create the podcast based on your sources. So if you are not aware of these things, I would highly suggest going to Notebook LM. It's a free version. It's there. Paid version also there. Free version is enough to learn a lot of things. Okay, but it will give some overview about RAG for you. Okay, because if you it is internally it is using, it may be using Gemini, right? It might be using it should be using Gemini, right? But you will be seeing the very difference directly using Gemini by going to gemini.google.com and using here. Here it won't give any wrong information. It will be grounded. Even it can give the references also based on if you ask some questions, it can give some references. Okay, so that's about one simple RAG application. But a lot of RAG as service also there. A lot of companies are providing as service, and even Amazon has a bedrock, that kind of things. A lot of things are there. Okay, even many people are developing RAG. So it is evolving in various perspectives. Okay, that is purely based on our budget, other things. But as a developer or some beginner, it is important to understand whatever I explained, like a simple RAG pipeline, everything. It can be manually built, or as I said, that services RAG as service is also there. You can use that. Okay. So limitations of RAG in the sense it's fully depending on the quality of knowledge source, right? So we are talking about grounding the LLM, right? For grounding the LLM, you should be having the relevant information. Even if the knowledge source is not having that in a relevant information, there is no use, right? So it purely depending on that. Okay, and computationally expensive, obvious, right? So we have to do the one-time process of embedding the entire knowledge source, and then every user query should be converted to the embedding, and okay, and we have to do the vector search. And moreover, if there is any change in the knowledge source, again we have to do the embedding of all the documents, right? So that kind of computing power. Okay, demo, we can see the demo. Let me check any question is there. Okay, no questions. I'll be continuing this further then. Okay. Before going to the demo, I would like to tell about my course and my services. Okay. Um, Here, as I said, you can come to this blog by searching QPT blog. Okay. Search for QPT blog. QPT blog. Okay. Click this link, blog.qualitypointtech.com. QPT stands for Quality Point Technologies. Okay. So here I added a lot of blog posts about the AI, hundreds of blog posts. Okay, I keep on adding about Python, AI, especially RAG. So RAG related things, maybe you can search RAG or AG RAG. Okay. So a lot of things are there. We have to click the next post. Okay. So we have to remember that click next post. Okay. Applications of RAG. What is agentic RAG? Self RAG. Overview of RAG. What is graph RAG? Top 10 vector databases for RAG applications. Why is RAG important? RAG evolution metrics. Actually, this one also very important. I haven't included it in the slides, but this is RAG evaluation is very very important because as I said, setting up the RAG the pipeline is very simple, but making it work according to our use cases is difficult. Like that I explained, right? But how do you know that it is working correctly, right? So that is where RAG evaluation is coming. RAG evaluation, it's a very very important concept. We need to understand a lot of evaluation metrics first and how to do that. Recall at K, precision at K, mean MRR, NDCG. So there are metrics in the sense there are two components, right? Retrieval and generation. So we have to consider both things: retrieval metrics, generation metrics, as well as overall metrics. Okay, and apart from measurable metrics, there are other human-centric metrics also there, and so it's very very important testing RAG. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Understanding RAG pipeline, everything is very easy, but making it work properly for our use case is a really tough task. Okay, it involves a lot of things, and one such thing is doing proper evaluation. So we have to first evaluate properly about like we need to evaluate like a lot of controllable parameters are there, right? We can choose various chunking strategies. Even in a same simple chunking strategy, we can change the chunk size. Okay, and we can change the embedding model. Okay, we can change the LLM. Okay, we can change the system prompt. So based on each changes, we have to test it whether it's working properly or not, right? That is where that RAG evaluation is there. It's very important topic in case of RAG. Okay, in AI itself, RAG AI evaluation is a yeah, important part. So anywhere, even in case of any software development, software testing is important, right? Similarly, here we have to test the model, that system, RAG pipeline. So, so you should, if you are familiar with AI developments, you should be knowing about recall precision, right? Here we are now normally we will be choosing top K results, right? So based on that, we have recall at K, precision at K. So mostly these two things are really important, recall and precision. Maybe as I said, we can discuss separately because no one is right now watching. But I would like to say the very general thing. So in case of recall, it measures the proportion of relevant documents found within the top key retrieved items. So it is about the proportion of relevant documents found. Okay, so basically, it is it's a very important thing because this measure is going to tell whether the retrieval is working properly or not, whether that thing is able to retrieve the relevant thing. Okay, precision, that also important in another perspective. Like we are getting information. Okay, so recall is good. That means it is able to retrieve the relevant information. But suppose if it is having some other irrelevant documents along with the relevant things, then the performance of LLM may not be good, right? So that's what precision. So we need to be measuring precision also. Okay, so it is like fraction of top priority documents that are relevant. This ensures that irrelevant documents don't overwhelm the generator. Okay, okay. So these are all retrieval metrics and generation metrics. It's based on LLMs, right? So that you can, if you are choosing some LLM, you can already a lot of people measured that. You can check that. Okay, but that's what retrieval will be very playing important role because these things, if you are, but if you are using your own model, then you have to measure them also. Okay, so faithfulness also important because even if the retrieval is generating, I mean retrieving the relevant things, if the LLM is not picking that relevant information, then there is no use, right? So that is what checks whether the generated output is entailed by the retrieved passages. Okay. Okay. So various things are there, but just as of now, just understand that we have to test the RAG pipeline effectively to make sure that it is working properly for our use cases. And if it is not working, we have to change that chunking strategy, chunk size, or different embedding models. Okay, different system prompt. So we need to do a lot of things. Okay. So chunking sizes and the chunking strategy that also plays important role. We need to care about that also. That I added a lot of blog posts about that. RAG versus CAG versus fine tuning. So if you're interested in that things. So here RAG we are sending only the relevant information, right? But CAG we can send all that things instead of retrieving the things. We can send all the relevant information. Okay, but a few months people were talking about that, but now everyone is talking about RAG and agentic RAG now, because now agents are becoming important things, right? Agentic RAG is instead of it's just one example like that. A lot of things are there. Like instead of statically doing that things, say for example, if we have different kinds of knowledge documents. One is static, another is maybe one is policy document, one is shipping information, another is tax information. We can have multiple vector databases, and dynamically we can choose the appropriate vector databases. That dynamically choosing, for that we can use LLM, another LLM for just we can send the query and then we can ask the LLM which vector database it has to use. Okay, that is agentic AI. So not only for that agentic thing, even it's for chunking also we can use the agentic chunking. Okay, with the help of LLMs. So I listed a lot of subreddits for learning RAG, not learning AI, but some RAG also. I specified one, and I created this LAN RAG thing. If you want to see some good resources related to learning RAG, you can check here. Okay, and if you want to share some information, you can share here. I keep on adding the content here. Okay. Okay. How to convert RAG pipeline from synchronous to asynchronous. PG vector. Normally, many people will be getting confused about PG vector and PG vector store, right? So I explained that. So whatever question is coming across during our discussion, I used to put it in the blog post. Okay. Suppose if you have any questions, you can ask me. And I have provided a lot of code samples also. This one is like a web crawling RAG chatbot using LangChain, Swapbase, and Gemini. I provided the code download link also. I have explained it fully, and at the end, I provided the code GitHub link. You can check that also. So, as I said, you can get a lot of information in my blog. Okay, semantic caching. So semantic caching, normally we know about caching, right? But in case of AI world, it is completely different, right? So say for example, in the RAG, as I said earlier, it is computationally expensive, right? It has to do the vector search and LLM generation. So in that case, instead of doing everything, I may be asking, tell me the capital of India. Someone will be asking, like, what is the capital of India? Okay. So the questions may be slightly different, but the intent is same, right? So in that case, normal caching is not useful. They will be treating the each question separately. But the semantic caching will be somewhat useful. Okay, so that's what semantic caching. So my other questions, semantic caching, top 10 vector databases, what is GraphRag? GraphRag is very important topic. It involves, it can handle hierarchies, other things. So that's completely different topic. So I explain, try to explain in this blog post. You can. So actually IBM research used to give a lot of good videos. I learned a lot of things from their videos. So maybe you can follow their channel. Okay. Okay. Track. Okay, actually, this AI learning resources, I provide a lot of useful information. Okay, you can find them here. A lot of links are there for freely learning AI. Okay. So if you go through my blog post, you can find a lot of useful information for learning AI. Okay. And other than that, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Even if you are watching this after the end of this live, after this live, I'll be keeping this video as a recorded live. So if you are watching it, remember to ask your questions. I'll be adding answers in this blog.qualitypantech.com, or simply remember QPT blog. Search for QPT blog and then click it. Okay. There you will be seeing this, right? Suppose if you're interested in this AI course, you can buy it. If you're in India, you can get it for 300 rupees or $8, so globally. Okay. But this, if you click this link, it involves like manual delivery. After making the payment to UPI or PayPal, you have to contact me. Okay, I provided my contact details here, my WhatsApp number and email ID. You need to contact me for getting the course access link. Okay, uh, if you want to get it automatically, you can click this link rajamanikam.com. Okay, here it's automated, but it involves Gumroad fees also. Okay, so in that case, it may be slightly higher than that price, but it's okay if it is okay for you. Uh, like it's in the base price is $19. Okay, if you are in India, because of the purchasing power parity, the prices will be reduced further. And even if you are in other countries like US, UK, the base price may be $19, but you can get discount by using the discount code QPT. Okay, so use the discount code QPT. QPT. Okay, it will give 50% discount. Okay. But here right now we are seeing this Raj, right, get 70 percentage, but it's a limited, very very limited time offer. If you are seeing this banner means you can use this offer. That QPT 50% discount offer, it will be for more time. Okay, so you can use that. Otherwise, the Raj get a 70 percentage off using discount code. Okay, it is applicable for all my books and things. But apart from my books available at rajamanikam.com, I have some exclusive books, A-rated, RAG-related books in Amazon also. Okay, but if more people are interested, I will be releasing another book. I am just thinking about creating a book about RAG evolution, like advanced topics about RAG. But based on the demand, I will be doing, because I already created a lot of books and I need to sell them first. But if there is a demand, I will be considering about that also. That in the sense, I mean to say about releasing a book about advanced topics related to RAG. Okay. So here rajamanikam.com, you can buy my books and my course. Okay, my course. If you buy my course, this course will be including a lot of my AI related books. Okay, so you need not buy the book separately, but other books, motivational book, other things, you can check that. Okay. And here I provided a learning package, but I won't recommend here. Instead, just to contact me. We can because it will take a significant commission. Okay, so we can just directly deal. Like let us just discuss through quick Google Meet to find the effective way of arranging that. Okay, so here if you click my Amazon books, see here in Amazon I have around 41 books. Okay, so a lot of books are there. So 41 books are there, right? NI10, Context Engineering, RAG, Symbol. But this is very simple book. But I have another book also with full-fledged RAG information, RAG Retrieval-Augmented Generation. So I would suggest buying that book. But anyway, if you buy my course for just 300 rupees, you can find a lot of ebooks and a lot of code samples and a lot of videos, tutorial videos. All my tutorial videos are provided with, I mean, subtitles, captions, closed captions, so that you can read the text while watching the video. My accent may not be the constraint for you learning anything. Okay. Okay, this one I already explained, right? Notebook LM, I will be closing that. Okay. Courses, Amazon. And moreover, if you are interested in earning money by referring my course and books, you can contact me. I'm offering 50% affiliate commission. It is free to use my affiliate thing. Okay, that we can discuss in another session. I already did one session. You can watch that. Yeah, click this link, earn 50% commission, and check that. Okay. And if you're interested in getting one-on-one AI coaching, click that. But one-on-one coaching is not scalable, right? I need to personally spend time with people, so I will be picking only limited number of peoples. Okay. Anyway, if you are very much interested in getting one-on-one AI coaching, you can find these details. Okay. But I would suggest buying my AI course because it's very, very affordable. 300 rupees only in India, $8 globally. It has more than 8 hours of tutorial videos provided with subtitles and nine AI related ebooks. And I am keep on adding a lot of content also apart from books and tutorial videos. And it has a lot of code samples and infographics. So almost it will be useful for both beginners as well as professionals. Okay, so I would suggest buying that, and you can refer that to your friends also, so that they can get good course for affordable price. And if there are any specific or guidance record, you can contact me for one-on-one coaching. Or if you don't want to pay for that, you ask your questions in the chat. I'll be doing more analysis about the question, and I'll be publishing blog posts here. So you can see hundreds of blog posts here, right? Like one person asked me about how to use AI in manufacturing. I created this one. Okay, AI in manufacturing, like that. Okay. So mostly I use ChatGPT for creating that, but I used to gather some information from various sources, and then I will be uh, preparing the proper prompt to come up with the questions. Okay, and I will be cross-checking to avoid any hallucinations. So, okay. So any other questions you can ask me. Otherwise, we can go next to the demo. Okay. So I hope I explained about the theoretical part, and I explained the importance of RAG and RAG pipeline, simple RAG pipeline, and um, like applications of RAG, right? So let us see one simple demo. A lot of applications are there. Almost any application, like say for example, if you're shortlisting candidates, connecting the knowledge, resumes of all candidates will be useful for by combining the LLM and the resumes data source, you can shortlist the candidates by indirectly discussing with that resumes, right? With the help of LLM. So that is like so a lot of use cases. Whatever application business you are thinking, you can come up with some kind of use case for implementing RAG. So that's what I'm telling. If you're running a business and if you want to implement AI for improving your business, because it is very important. Other your competitors will be already started doing that. So to be relevant in your business, you need to adapt to AI things. Just getting distracted by AI hype created by AI influencers is not going to help you. You have to really work on to do something. So in that perspective, if you need any assistance from me, you can contact me. I can do it based on hourly, affordable hourly charges. You can check my hourly charges detail here, one-on-one AI coaching. It may be dynamically changing based on my timing, but mostly, I as of now I haven't changed the price. But sometimes I will, based on my free timing, I will be giving discounts. Okay. Okay. Now let us move to the demo. Okay. So the demo, I will be showing the demo rag.py, this file. Okay. I'll be showing the demo using the LangChain framework, okay, LangChain library. That also very important for any creating any kind of LLM application, especially RAG. But anyway, RAG is, though I am saying RAG is very important. At the end of the day, RAG is just a workflow, okay. So compared to agentic AI agents, its performance and effectiveness is very low. So in that case, if it is record, we have to go with AI agents. Maybe I will be taking another session to explain the AI agents. They are fully autonomy, right? They can observe the environment. They can take their own decisions, and they can act, do the action. But the RAG is just workflow. It's not like agents. Okay, so you need to understand that kind of limitation of RAG also. But anyway, combining the RAG and agents, that concept, it's really powerful. Okay. Okay. So this is the code I'm going to run for this demo. Okay. So so I have a folder called PDFs, and I put some sample files downloaded from the internet. Okay. So I'm going to read the content within this PDF folder. Okay, that's the first step one. Load PDF files from the directory. Okay. So as I said, I'm using LangChain library. So without LangChain also you can do, but using this kinds of library, a lot of other libraries, Llama Index, there a lot of things are there. But personally, I feel that LangChain is more effective. So that is the reason why I do. Like a lot of companies also using LangChain. LangChain is it's developing, but still it's open source. Okay, so there are various advantages of using LangChain. Okay, so I'm using LangChain Crema. We are importing all the record classes, and first step we are loading the PDF file from the directory, PDFs directory. Okay, and the second step is converting documents into chunks. For that we are using character text splitter and that class, but the various other things, recursive and various chunking strategies are there. You can check my blog post. But here, for example, I'm using this one. So this is creating embeddings and storing in the vector database. Okay. For that, I'm using Hugging Faces this standard transformer embedding model, all mini LM L6V2. Okay. And I'm using vector database FIAS. FIAS is provided by Meta, Facebook. Okay. It's an in-memory vector database. And the LLM, I'm using this Gemini 2.5 Flash. Okay. So the retriever is set up by calling this vector DB files. Okay. So now we are ready with the retriever as well as generation, this LLM. Okay. So we are just augmenting this context and the question. In the diagram I explained, right? Augmenting the prompt. We have to include the context as well as user query. So we are including that. This is system prompt. If you need answer concisely, you can ask answer the question concisely. If you need elaborately, you can ask elaborately. Like it's just an example I'm telling. So system prompt for combining the context and the user query. Okay. So lang chain concept, we have to create the chain. So stub chain we are creating, and then we are creating lang chain. This rack chain. Okay. So this is next step is creating symbol chatbot application. We have some while loop, infinite while loop, and typing exit will exit. Okay. So basically we are getting the user query and then passing that into the rack chain, invoking in the rack chain by passing this query and getting the answer. That's it. Very simple thing. But as I said, we have to split the one-time process, ingestion process and usage. But here I'm doing it in the same thing just for the demo purpose. Okay. So it may be taking significant time because it has to do other things. Right? I will start the terminal. I'm loading the environment, virtual environment. I'm loading the key. Gemini, I'm using Gemini, right? It needs API key. You can get the API key from AI Studio, Google AI Studio. Okay, now we are running the code Python and 3 track.py. Okay, it may be taking significant time. In the meantime, we can check that again. We are first step, we are loading the PDF files from the directory. You can check the directory, these files. We can open one file. It may be taking significant time. Okay, so still going on. So the chunking strategy is important. As I said, right now we are using very simple strategy, but based on our use cases, based on our expected results and our budget, other things, it involves a lot of factors. So we have to use different strategy, but better we can explore by choosing different strategy, different chunk size, okay, and some overlapping also we have to provide. Okay. We can ask questions about what is the phone number of cancer center, like that, right? So whatever questions we can ask, that will be creating chunks of each documents, and that will be stored in the files vector database. That lookup of the chunk and text chunk and the equivalent the embeddings. The query, like whatever question we are asking, going to ask in the terminal, that will be again converted into embeddings with the help of this Hugging Face embedding. Okay, if you are not familiar with Hugging Face, I would suggest first checking that Hugging Face. It's really useful for any kind of AI development. Okay, Hugging Face hf.co. If you type hf.co, it will be redirected to huggingface.co. Here you can find a lot of models, more than 2 million models. Let us check. As of now, it has 2.4 million models. Okay, all are open source models, free models. You can freely use them, and data sets are there. Spaces for hosting your deploying your application, as well as you can use other people's applications also. I deployed one simple LAN AI application, and you can use it from my website also. I embedded there using iframe. I will show that. Go to qualitypointtech.com/quiz. Okay, here you can find that. Here you can find this pattern, right? Here you can ask, teach me RAG or whatever related to AI. It's highly optimized for AI teaching. Retrieval augmented generation or RAG is a super cool way to make a model smarter by giving them access to up-to-date information. Okay. Okay. Yes, I will do this. So it's giving some library analogy. So in the meantime, it's recommending my products also. Okay, you can get my retrieval augmented video or book. Okay, So what I'm trying to say is, in the Hugging Face, you can deploy it and you can use it. Okay, there it has a lot of models, including this embedding models. You can filter that based on your requirement. So based on the task. Okay, text classification, token classification, summarization, audio reinforcement. Okay. So there, it provides this sentence transformers, all mini LM L6V2 model. So that will be useful for doing the embedding. Otherwise, normally the commercially people will be using OpenAI's embedding model. Okay, that is paid one. We have to pay for that usage. Okay, now it is ready with all the things, right? I'm running this rag.py that file. We can ask the question. So let us ask one question about this one. Cancer centers. Tell me the phone number of cancer centers. So it's giving the answer, right? 718, ending at 47. So this one. Okay. And we can ask any questions, like maybe in the other document also we can ask. Tell about cancer care treatment center. So it's giving that things, multidisciplinary care. Okay. And the other document from other document also you can ask questions. Hotel information. You can ask the fax number of the email of the phone hotel. So it's Frankfurt Sheraton.com. Okay. So it's able to give the answer from other document also. Okay. So it's very simple, right? But making it, if your use case is very complex, we have to do a lot of things, and like splitting, we have to be very careful, provide enough overlapping to avoid losing any information. So making it professional production ready is really a tough thing, and you need to have clear understanding about how it's working. Okay. So anyone can easily create this, okay, and making it work according to our own need and with our own budget, other things. That needs a lot of deep understanding about RAG, okay. Otherwise, start working on any RAG is easy, even if you don't have any budget or anything. Even you can just start using Notebook LM. You can just upload your documents. You can talk to your documents there, okay. And if you need any other information about RAG, you can ask through the chat. I'll be answering that. Let me check any question is there. As of now, no questions. Okay. And moreover, apart from using this chatbot here, this is qualitypointtech.com/quiz. Maybe I will send that link here. I shared that link. Okay, there you can find, apart from this chart, you can find a lot of quizzes. A quiz in various topics, arranged in various topics like AI basics, prompt engineering, generative AI, Python, machine learning, deep learning, RAG, even RAG question also there. Maybe you can attend that. Data science, LLM, AI agents, right? What does RAG stand for? Retrieval Augmented Generation, right? If it is the correct answer, it will be becoming green. Otherwise, it will be in red. Okay. What is the primary purpose of RAG? To improve the factual accuracy and relevance of generated text, right? Okay. In a RAG system, what is the retrieval component responsible for? So, retrieval component is for identifying and fetching relevant information from an external knowledge source, right? Okay. What kind of knowledge source can a RAG system use? What kind of knowledge source can a system? Only the models? Only any accessible collection of documents or data, right? Though we are seeing the demo with PDF file, it can be any API or any information. Or as I have showed on that blog post, we can use the web crawler for getting data from the net also. What is the role of the generation component in RAG? Generation component to produce the final text output based on the retrieved information, right? Correct. How does RAG improve the factual accuracy of generated text? How does RAG improve the factual accuracy of generated text? By verifying information against external sources, right? Okay. What is a potential benefit of using RAG over fine tuning a language model? Potential benefit. RAG allows for easier updating of knowledge. Which of the following is a key challenge in building an effective RAG system? Which of the following is a key challenge in building an effective RAG system? Language, selecting appropriate retrieval mechanism, ensuring that retrieval information is relevant. Choosing the right language model, selecting an appropriate retrieval mechanism, ensuring the retrieved information is relevant and accurate. All of the above. All of the above, right? What is the difference between open domain and closed domain RAG? Open domain RAG can access a wider range of information than closed domain RAG. Okay. I clicked wrongly. In what application can RAG be particularly useful? Question answering, chatbots, content creation, all of the above. Okay. Okay. So if you want to take another topic, you can see here. Okay. So you can choose the topic. Okay. You can attend the quiz. It's free to use. You don't need to do any registration. Anyone can easily use it. Okay. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, click this link, and you can find my email ID and WhatsApp number. We can discuss. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So we discussed about RAG, importance of RAG pipeline, and advantages of RAG, and I explained about reading RAG blog post in my blog, and I showed one sample. Okay, if you are interested to get this sample code, everything will be there in this EA course. It is just $8, or in India it is just 300 rupees only. Okay, it's a good opportunity. Or if you want automatic delivery, you can use this link, rajamanikan.com link. Otherwise, you can click this banner and find my contact details and payment details. You can make the payment and then you can contact me to get the course access. Let me tell about the course again, because that is what my I can do one-on-one coaching also, but it's not scalable. I can do it for a few people only, right? Or one or two people only per day. So in that case, I would suggest focusing more on this recorded course. In that case, if you want automatic delivery, you can come to rajamanikam.com, or as I said, you can check that this banner, left side banner, right? 300 rupees in India, $8 globally. You can use that. Anyway, I will just listing the videos here. What are the videos available? What is AI? A simple guide for beginners. Understanding AI basics with easy examples. Best practices and tips for using ChatGPT and Gemini. Famous and useful AI tools and a notebook LM. Prompt engineering tutorial. Beware of AI hallucinations. Unlocking the power of AI for digital marketing. Creating MCQ quiz using Google Gemini. Use Google Gemini to earn money online. Twitter promotion using Google Gemini. Just you can go through, right, a lot of videos, like very basic things, very some use cases, and Google AI Studio tutorial, Scikit-learn, AI jargons for beginners. It's a mix of information that are useful for both beginners as well as professionals. Here, including a RAG tutorial, okay, MCP tutorial, computer vision tutorial, line graph tutorial, context engineering for AI development tutorial. So all these videos will be running more than 8 hours. All are provided with subtitles. Okay, and apart from that. Videos, I have included a lot of books also, Unlocking AI, Simple Guide for Beginners, Mastering the Art of Talking to AI, a prompt engineering book, Mastering SQL. And in the case, the SQL, it is AI oriented mostly. This book, you can get a lot of AI oriented things there, like using AI for learning SQL, as well as in other side, like how AI is related with SQL. Okay, and unlocking Google Gemini, Python for AI developers, okay, and Drag obviously, and emerging AI trends, AI for entrepreneurs, mastering agentic AI, okay. And this course is available in other platforms like Udemy, Skillshare also. I provide that links also, and they are getting good ratings there, okay. And as I explained earlier, apart from selling my books through my website, I'm listing my books in the Amazon also. You can find around 41 books there. You can click. Just to remember this site, rajamanikam.com. Maybe I can share the link. Okay. I can share the link just to come to the Amazon, and you can find all the links in my A course and a bundle offer and blog and joining as affiliate for earning money. Okay, and I provided my email ID also here, and my books link and my channel link and okay, this is for inviting Amazon affiliates to earn from my Amazon books. Okay, but as I said, I keep on adding more books at Amazon. Okay, and that books are in high demand because I'm creating books based on the demand, right? And okay, and if you're new to my channel, check my playlist. I added a lot of videos. Okay, and if you are first time watching my video, remember to subscribe to my channel. And just if you feel that this video is useful for others, share it with others. Okay, and moreover, the best thing is, or my expected thing is, ask your questions in the chat. Okay, I'm in the process of adding more questions, answers in my blog. Okay, so I'll be interested in knowing about the common questions from the beginners, especially, and based on that, that will help me to do my AI coaching, one-on-one coaching very effectively. So based on the questions asked by various people, I can effectively improve my way of teaching. Okay, so you can ask your questions. Okay. Okay. Thanks for watching. And as I said, ask your questions in the chat. I'll be keeping this live as a recorded live even after ending this live. So feel free to ask any questions there. I'll be replying that answer. Otherwise, I'll be just posting in my blog, and I will be replying with my link. Okay. And I would suggest buying this AA course, and you can earn money. Suppose if you know a lot of other learners, you can earn money as a affiliate, joining as affiliate. Okay, and you can read lot of AI related blog post here. Okay, so just check any blog post, AI related blog post, and you can check this label, artificial intelligence label, that will filter and it will be giving only AI related things. Suppose if you are interested, I will be sharing that link also in the chat. Okay. Okay, so my suggestion is just to go through my blog post and explore this Hugging Face. Here you can find models, datasets, spaces, community docs. A lot of options are there. Okay, so you can use most of them freely. Okay, and the spaces also it's free for limited usage. Okay, you can easily find your record model by filtering based on the task or based on the other factors, libraries, languages, licenses. Okay. 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 Bye. Like, if you are not my in my newsletter, just visit rajamanikan.com and add your email and subscribe. Okay. If you can freely add to my newsletter, so that if I'm doing any kind of further discount offers or any kind of free webinars or something, that kind of information you can get. Even I used to release new ebooks, and in that case you can get that information. Okay. And instead of just talking from myself alone, I would like to get more feedback from the learners. That is the reason why I do these kinds of free webinars. So previously I thought of doing it through Google Meet. Even I did it, but participation is very low, and it requires a lot of resources for using OBS to do other things. So I thought of starting it like this, like through web interface of YouTube Studio. But if many people are interested to actively discuss, I can arrange Google Meet also. Suppose if you are good at some topic, and if you want to do live by broadcasting the discussion between you and me, we can do that. Okay. So YouTube collaboration, that kind of stuff, that will be useful for everyone, right? So in that case also I'm open to do that. Okay. And okay. Okay, thanks. Bye. I'm disconnecting. Okay. Bye. Thanks.